welcome to another segment of Possibilities with Esther. Thank you so much for making our time to be following us up on this program every week. And for those who have been sending me text messages, I want to use this medium to tell you thank you so much for following up. And also those that have been following up on the YouTube and my Instagram, Esther Talk. Thank you so much for all the messages you've been bringing. Last week we talked about personalities, and I hope you were able to find out what your personality is, and also you are making use of it to apply in your life, your business, and also your family. Today's topic, I will be having a special guest all the way from Philippines. This topic in particular is something that has been disturbing a lot of people, and many fields don't look into it. People are going through a lot. Homicide, people are committing suicide. There's just so much unforgiveness, sadness, pain inside our heart. And most times these things are being caused by when we were little, abuse. We have heard a lot about women abuse, child abuse, even men abuse, and this topic cannot finish as long as this problem still exists. And today my focus is on the children. Why is on the children? Because we parents, we adults, we don't take time to know what is going on in the mind of our little ones. We just impose everything on them. We are so careless that we can just let our child with a stranger, with a relative that we do not know the mindset of that relative. We don't know the mental, psychological stability or stage of that person. And by those, it affects us. Most of the things that I'm going through as an adult, at a point in time, I went through depression. Reason being that there was some things from the past that I kept thinking about it. And I'm very, very sure a lot of us out there, we have a past that we're struggling with. And it's not just a past as we're adults, but it started when we are little, as little kids. That's why I'm taking my time today to talk to you about healing from the past. Healing from the past has a lot to do with your childhood. And as you listen and recovered yours, please put an attention to your little ones. And I'll be focusing on the child abuse. Child abuse, violence on the kids. Everything starts from the kids. Creativity starts from the kids. Everything about you, your foundation, your experiences, your thoughts starts since when you are little, when you are so little. Everything that you are becoming today is a compilation of your experiences from a little child to an adult. So whatever thing you went through as a child, be it environmental experiences, parenting, or even guidance, has a lot to do to your inner potentials as you grow as an adult. And it has a lot to do with how you will handle with people around you at working place, even your relationship. If you don't take care of the past, if you do not heal from the past, if you do not seek for the proper ways of healing, I bet you whatever motivation somebody will do to you, whatever treatment you will do, it will not cure that pain until you realize, until you think, until you forgive, you forget, and you take necessary steps before you'll be able to see how things will be going through for you as you're supposed to be. Today's topic is about healing from the past. And I'm focusing on the children and kids. According to the research from WHO, World Health Organization, children and youth are exposed to a domestic violence experience. Emotional, mentally, social damage that can affect their developmental growth. Some children lose the ability to feel empathy for others, and others feel socially isolated, unable to make friends, and easily endure. They can't just make friends due to the past that is haunting them. To social discomfort or confusion over acceptable. Globally, it is estimated that up to 1 billion children aged 2 to 17 have experienced physical, sexual, emotional violence or neglect in the past. And more than 70% child sex abuse cases involves close relative, and friends. Someone else close to the child. No child will experience violence from afar, from a distance. It always begins from your home, from your friends, from your families, and also those people you think they are your friends. And today, I have a special guest with me from Philippines who has gone through some traumatic experience as a child and how it affected her as an adult and how she find a way out. I am so happy to connect with this wonderful woman. She is a registered psychologist and organizational behavior consultant. Marketing in Asia, raising 70 Philippines in LinkedIn for 2020. Also, she is a mental health professional focused on work-related stress and issues, burnout, trauma, depression, anxiety, and stabilization of emotions. She has 15 years of corporate experience, particularly in industrial and organizational psychology. Currently, she is working with companies to address their employees' mental health, which is very important. I just wish all organizations will be able to have these kind of services for their workers, not just about actualizing what the office is meant to be. And also issues and healing trauma clients or victims of abuse. And she is also a woman empowerment and mental health advocate for women who are really going through a violence from their partners, and even after childbirth they go through some violence and depression and all that. I welcome to you our dear, beautiful, strong woman by the name Charlene Lucas, all the way from Philippines. Welcome to our program for today.
Good day, Esther, and good day, Africa. Sending my love from the Philippines.
Thank
Hello.
you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so happy to share into your experience and also the knowledge you have, despite the trouble you went through, the trauma you went through as a child. When I read your story, I felt tears in my eyes, and I felt so grateful to know a woman like you. Now, the question I have, our first question for today is, please, can you tell us more about your childhood traumatic experience in a short?
Okay. So, first, I would like to have or to tell a warning, particularly because some might trigger, especially those women who underwent abuse or undergoing abuse. So, it all started when I was a kid. I think it was when I was 6 years old, 8 years old at that time. And I was abused, not only physically, emotionally, verbally, and also sexually by people closest to me that supposedly who's taking care of me. So I underwent. I thought it was they telling me that it was training for me not to get pregnant early and things like that. No, so it's they're telling me things that supposedly or they're teaching me things that's supposed to be done by adult and with proper consent. What I mean by proper consent, of course, you need to be in a legal age, and you need to know particularly what's right and what's wrong in terms of giving your consent or giving or making particularly. So I underwent that abuse, and I don't know that I was abused particularly because they're justifying it as a form of education, form of training, form of parenting. But now come when I went or when I let's say went on a teenager. So I was already a teenager, and that's the time particularly. That's the time that I already had knowledge particularly in uh, in what's right and what's wrong. So I told my abuser that I don't want to do this anymore because it's not right. And after that, actually, I was already having mental issues. So before, I don't know that I'm having mental issues, but my grades are failing. I was detached with my friends, and I always want to, particularly to isolate myself. So I'm already having that sign of depression. But when I was a kid, then when I grow up, so I thought and then my abuser changed particularly, and then he really did change and took care of me. And but I also I became independent also at that time, so I thought I already forgave him. But the thing is,
It was
so
still
I,
there.
I, I haven't really forgiven him in a because I haven't accepted uh, what has happened to me before I go to therapy.
Mm. I'm so sorry about that. As those traumatic experience affected you negatively, as you made mention, it made you isolated from other people. Was there any way that it affected your life at a point where you needed to take a pause?
I needed to take a
Yeah, you needed to take a pause, like it affected your lifestyle, all the trauma you went through. What in particular that you know it's affected that part of your life?
Alright, so I notice it when I cannot form a proper relationship. I was always afraid to get close, especially with the opposite sex. So I get this belief, particularly that they will hurt me, that they will just play with me, particularly. And then when the topic is particularly sex, so I get uh, this trigger, this feeling that I want to close, no, that I want to shut off, that I don't want to hear it, I don't want to know about it. So I became like that. So supposedly when you're already in your 20s, right, in your 30s, you're supposedly forming good relationships, loving relationship with other people. But the thing is, I can't because I was afraid. I was afraid to get hurt. I was afraid that they might use me. So that's the belief. Actually,
Mm.
that's the belief that was that I don't know that given to me because of that abuse.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. At what point did you think that since you could not forgive him, that person that molested you, you remember that probably you forgave him, but then things were not still going on as it's supposed to be, like psychologically? At what point did you feel it's the need for you to go and seek for a further counseling?
So when I am actually reviewing already for psychology board exam in the Philippines, so when I went to trauma, because we do have a lot of disorders in mental health or mental issues. We have a lot of disorders. So when I was going through particularly the trauma issues, so and then the signs and symptoms particularly, and also what's underlying on the trauma, what's causing trauma, and that's the time that I had a wake up call. That's the time that, oh my gosh, I'm checking I'm checking all the symptoms, and what I went through is already is causing is already trauma. I had a trauma. So after I passed the board exam as a psychologist, then that's the time I seek help. I seek help with a psychotrauma expert, which she became my mentor. And then that's the time the healing. I thought I was already over it. I thought I already forgiven my abuser because he changed. He changed. People change.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I underwent that psychotherapy, everything came out. All the negative emotions, all the negative thoughts, that the proper thought or the proper emotion that I should have felt when I was a kid, when I
Yeah.
was abused, I felt it during the therapy. So what we did is a therapy particularly used for trauma clients or for trauma patients. So all the thoughts, all the negative thoughts, emotion, it came out
It
to
came
the
out.
point that I think I'm going to go crazy because I haven't felt that kind of emotion, that rage. It's not anger, it's rage. It's like I
Yeah.
want to kill somebody. That intense emotion that
Mm.
I felt during that therapy, because you need to address that pain. You need to address that thought. You need to address that emotion because it's registered in your body.
Yes.
Even trauma can persist or can last more than 30 years, even a lifetime, if you haven't really addressed it, because it's registered in your body. That's why I have that negative beliefs, negative thoughts, because of that abuse. So when I'm going through the therapy, so that's the time that I, aside from telling somebody, a soul, what has done to me, because I'm sure, Esther, you're familiar with this with women who were labeled, right? If you were abused, like you are damaged, okay, and you are,
Yeah.
let's say,
Yeah.
you're not worthy anymore. So we heal that. We heal that kind of belief, that negative belief, that it's not your fault and you are not defined by your past.
We are not.
Aside aside to that desensitizing, or let's say, breaking that negative emotion that was imposed to me because of that abuse. So that's what happened during the therapy. And after a few sessions, so I have this epiphany, or have this insight, that I'm not defined by my past, and it's not my fault. Okay, it's not my fault. It's just that I happen to be a victim of somebody who is also, I think, was abused when he was a kid, and I think also he is neglected as a
Yeah.
child. So
Hmm.
now that pain that he has was passed on to me, because he needs love, and whom can he get that? Somebody who's weaker than him, his kid, which is not proper, right?
Yeah.
So that's the healing process. It's not, that's the epiphany that I had, that it's not my fault. I'm not defined by it, and I am what I choose to become.
They said our story makes us who we are at the point. If we make use of it very well, instead of letting the story to control us, we should change it to control the experiences. What did you learn during your counseling at with the psychologist? What in particularly did you learn from the whole process of healing, the counseling, and all that? This question is to help other people know the importance of seeking for counseling.
Okay. So what I've learned first is acceptance. Acceptance of your past, acceptance of what happened to you, because most of the mental issues is, uh, we want to erase our past, we want to erase our memories, we want to erase whatever happened to us. But the thing is, it's there, it's part of your life, it's part of your past, but that doesn't mean you are defined by that, or you
True.
have to be caged on that. You can get out of that, you can change, you can heal. So for me, telling somebody who's a mental health professional, who is trained particularly to deal with trauma, because some people, they will just say na, you'll just you're lack in prayer, you lack in, let's say, something to do, or let's say you lack of love. But the thing is, healing has to come from within.
Mm.
Healing has to, you need to have that acceptance, acceptance that you can change, acceptance that you can heal, and acceptance of your past. And by that past, you can particularly transform into something new, something that people will benefit from, like
True.
particularly what I'm sharing right now. So before, I was really afraid to
Mm.
tell what happened to me, and before I might be judged particularly. But the thing is, when you tell people who truly understands you,
True.
who went on the same
Mm.
situation as you, then you will find the support. You'll find that you're not alone.
Mm.
So even if you have this bad past, even if you have this, let's say, terrible things that you did, terrible things that was done to you, you can still have that healing. Of course, with the proper guidance of a mental health professional.
Thank you very much, Charlene. As a psychologist and your experiences, what are the simple basic steps that people who are going through the same issues currently, and for those who have experienced this particular issue, struggling with it, what is your your advice as a specialist, as a psychologist, to those people? The steps they
Okay.
need to take.
Okay. So first is you need to seek help. It's all right to seek help, okay? And it's actually a strength for you to seek help. Of course, proper help. Proper help with proper people, trained. So seek help, that's number one. And then of course self-awareness. Self-awareness, what is happening to me? You need to be aware of particularly your symptoms, your manifestations, or if there's really something wrong, if it is not you already anymore. So you need to be self-aware. It's like what happened to me is that why I can't form a proper relationship. Okay? What's happening to me? So that kind of self-awareness, we need to be in touch with ourselves. And then of course seek help. So once you seek help, okay, try as much as possible to particularly finish the therapy so that you can have this life. And of course the maintenance. The mental health, actually it's not a destination as what one of the professors in trauma says, or one of the professionals in trauma says, that mental health is not a destination. Actually it's how you drive. It's how you drive in life, because every day we are having our struggles. Every day we can have, let's say, trauma, or I'll just go outside and I'm gonna hit by a car, so that's already trauma. So but the most important is, aside from being aware, is you need to seek proper help and go through it, and then as much as possible is build that strength to really change your life and change your mindset. But number one is you are not defined by your past, and you can still change.
Thank you so much. Please, can you give us your final advice to parents? Because I feel every child comes with either, even if the parents are not there, there's a guardian. And I feel most times the parents neglect children. They think about their own priorities and forgetting the children's presence. What is your final advice to parents concerning their kids, protecting their kids, so that the children will not go through these kind of abuses that will affect their purpose in life at the later on?
Mm. So first, of course, for the parents, is it's not just about sending your kid to school, feeding them, or giving them financial or material things. So it's also about emotional care, or emotional presence, and also train them particularly to be strong in life. It's not just about giving them material things and then leaving them. So most of the issues, particularly, or 80% of mental health issues, is because of bad parenting. So give your child not only financial or protection, but as well as emotional and love. Okay, so it's a component, particularly for you to raise a good kid. And of course, as much as possible, is be there for your children. Okay, so don't let somebody particularly just take that responsibility. If it is your child, it's your responsibility. And before you engage into rearing a child, or let's say of giving a child, you need to be whole first. You need to be address your issues first, because you never know that you might displace your issues, or you might displace your childhood issue or your past trauma to your children, which is, it's not their fault.
It's not.
Okay, so it's they might also be passing on that pain to somebody else. So heal first, and then give that love to your children, so that they can be raised as a good person, as a good human, and not to displace that pain to other people as well.
Thank you so much, Miss Charlene. Thank you so much for your advice. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you, and I hope to have you again next time on this program. Thank you so much. And also, I will let our audience, if they need services, if they need someone to talk to about their issues, I will definitely connect them to you. Thank you, and thank you for having you on our program for today, Mrs. Charlene. Thank you for making our time, and I'm so glad to share in your knowledge.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
So, as you can hear from our guest, for me, if I catch anybody close to my child and trying to abuse, just know that you're going to. In fact, I don't want to say it on this on the TV station, but stay with us as we come back after the commercial break. I will be right back with an analysis about child abuse and the need for you to heal from the past. Stay tuned as we come back after the commercial break. Welcome back to the second segment of Possibilities with Esther, and that was a wonderful insight from Charlene Lucas all the way from Philippines. You can see what child abuse has caused to her. I just wish that every parent who is negligent of their children to take this case very, very serious, because seriously, no matter how there's a motivation to you, no matter how you get inspired, sometimes it's not just enough. Sometimes it in fact, most times has a lot to do when we are kids. And we have so much in our heart. If you cannot release it out, it takes a lot than just forgiveness. Sometimes even when you forgive, if you don't treat that mental, psychological effect in you, you'll not be able to move forward. And then somehow you find out that you'll be changing work. You don't even trust people because you're still holding into the past. You are still thinking of the past is still haunting you. You're looking for answers deep inside you alone. You are looking for a way to heal without taking an action. I understand that it's difficult to just go and trust people, to talk to them. That is why we have psychologists. We might say, okay, psychologists are expensive and all that, but hey, you can still try. Just give yourself that trial to try to heal, try to seek for somebody to talk to, or else it might just end up making you to go and commit suicide, and then before you know it, it just affects it affects you life in general. And I want us to look at this. My focus, as I said, let me not deviate from it, is the kids, the children. When you take care of the children, I bet you are taking care of the future. When you take care of the children, you are taking care of future leaders. When you take care of your children, you are also taking care of yourself, because however you treat those kids, you just leave them. You just feel, okay, I trust this child. Some mothers will leave their daughters naked just because she's a little girl. You don't know that neighbor, you don't know that relative, you don't know that man in your house. You just say you trust without checking nothing. And these children, because you don't have a connection, you don't have a relationship with your children, they will be scared to even talk to you, because any small mistake a child makes, you take out your slippers. Any small mistake that child makes, you shout on the child. Tell me, how can that child feel free to talk to you? Even if that child is going through a lot inside his or her mind, you'll be scared. If I tell mommy, mommy will not believe me. If I tell daddy, daddy will shout. If I say this, they will beat me. And those people will just make them quiet. You don't know this is how it will affect that child until they grow up, and then they will find it difficult to even socialize with other people. Some, even because they are looking for revenge, when they grow up, they tend to do the same thing someone did to them. So the victims, and most of the victims are being a victim of a victim. I don't know if you understand my point. So some of the parents, they just forget their kids. They think, oh, they are adults, or they can take care of themselves. Or I left them with the house help. You don't even know if the house help is even abusing your child. Tomorrow, when that child cannot function very well in school, you think your child is olodo, or you think your child is not educated, is not smart, without finding why that child is behaving like that. Really, this is not even funny. It's not funny at all. Let me tell you the effect of child abuse. What child abuse can affect, what those abuses can affect a child. It results in death, homicide, which often involves weapons such as knives and firearms, is among the top 4 cases of death in adolescents, with boys comprising over 80% of victims. Secondly, It has a very negative effect on the mind, impair brain and nervous system development. Those abuses has a lot to do. It affects your nervous system. From a child, imagine their immune are still developing and going through this abuse. It's when the signal goes to your brain sends it to your body, and it affects, even goes to your lungs and all those parts of your body. And imagine this thing is repeating every single day. By the time that child is an adult, already the system is gone because of the abuses, mentally, psychological, that has been sending to your brain. Definitely it will have effect on that child when he's an adult. Exposure to violence at an early age can impair brain development and damage other parts of the nervous system, such as the endocrine, circulatory, musculoskeletal, all these doctor words, reproductive and respiratory. Can negatively affect development and result in educational development. It can even affect your respiration. Violence from a child. Before you are big, you think that you are eating all the nonsense thing from the can or from the supermarket. Some people even say it's their relative that killed them, not knowing that it's the past, the violence that a child you went through since when you were a child. Before now, things have compiled on your system, your nervous system. Everything is just damaged and everything. It can also result in negative coping with health risks behavior. When you see children, that child was quiet and all of a sudden you see, why is your child having this behavior? It's not changing. It's due to those violence that the child has experienced when he was a little child. It affects the mind, affects their behaviors. Children exposed to violence and other adversities are sustainable, more likely to smoke, misuse alcohols, and also they can even go into drugs and engage in high-risk sexual behavior due to that abuse. They also have higher rates of anxiety, depression, other mental health problems, and suicide. Another point is it leads to intended pregnancies, unintended pregnancies. It's already part of induced abortions, gynecological problems, and sexually transmitted infection, including HIV, because their system is already used to somebody molesting them, or it has already affected them. Before you know, it's already into them. It has already entered into their body, and they find themselves in a very useless life at the point of maybe 18 or 19 or 20 years, and you thought that child or that youth decided to be nonsense. No, somebody caused it. Negligence of a parent, a guidance, even school. Some even orphanages, organizations that take care of children, they neglect those things, even abused by the workers, some of them, and then you don't know. You just see that child into drug and abuse without finding out what the child went through as while growing up. Another effect, impact, opportunities, and future generations. Children exposed to violence and other adversities are more likely to drop out of school, have difficulty finding and keeping a job, and are at high risk for later victimization and of interpersonal and self-directed violence, by which violence against children can even affect the next generation. So please, let's take care of our children and think of, let's end violence on children, because it will help. It will help if these things are being stopped. Trust you me, the life will be much better. When you grow up, it makes the whole process of living much better. Will not be having psychological problems and mental issues. But if you have already gone through these things, please don't give up. This is why Possibilities is here to tell you that life is possible. It's possible for you to forgive, forget, and heal. Heal from the past. If you have gone, don't let it drag you down. Two things are involved. It's either you move on or you die. Which one would you choose? Of course, you don't want to choose to die. When you go through those challenges, when you go through these abuses, now make use of it to teach others not to go through the same thing. It will help you heal. Seek for help. Talk to somebody. Pour it out. If you think you talk to someone and they will not understand you, find a new location. Talk to a stranger that you know does not have a connection with the people around you. Not because that person is going to give you a solution, but because it will help you to voice out. If you feel angry, go somewhere to a forest. Don't go to a forest where something will catch you there. No. Go to somewhere quiet and shout it out. Speak it out. Let it out. Speak everything out, and before you know it, you feel relieved. Pray, and let it go. Move on with life. Seek for help. You will see that everything will begin to connect. Some will say they are not lucky. Sometimes we sit down, we say, why me? Why is life so difficult for me like this? Let it go, okay? I know it's so hard, just like our guest Shellings made mention that even though her abuser died, he came and asked for forgiveness and everything. He went through, he was also abused. Now you see there's always a connection. He was also abused, and he later put it on her. And later he found out that he was wrong. He seek for forgiveness. Even though he died, but even though she forgave him and all that, but the damage is deep inside. That she couldn't move forward. There was still fear. It's not about the guy. It's not about the abuser anymore. It's about you. It's about her. She had to look for a way to seek for counseling. Now she turned that. She learned about the mindset of people, why people are going through that. And she studied psychology. And now she's using it to even help organizations to talk to their workers. You have a worker, you don't even know if your worker is going through some psychological issues. You just shout at your worker. You don't know if that house help is working with you. You've never asked her what she is going through. Or she's just moody and you think that she just doesn't want to work. No, please. Let's pass love to humanity, okay? Let's pass love to humanity. And this is a very sensitive topic for me today. I felt like I'm taking it too personal. But this is the essence of this program, is for us to come together, to understand, to heal, to help, to move on, and also be able to impact in the society, be able to find our inner potential and see the possibilities of life. Thank you for staying with us on this program till this time around. And please follow me on Instagram, Esther Talk on Instagram, and follow Ntr Tv on Instagram. Go to our YouTube channel and search for our recorded programs and watch it again. And keep watching Ntr Tv. Keep watching Possibilities with Esther. I will be out for today and see you again next time with an exciting, motivational, and inspirational topics. Have a wonderful, lovely, safe day.